First, Russian economy meltdown continues as Kremlin forced to sell state assets. March 25, 2025. The Kremlin is considering privatizing public assets to strengthen the Russian economy as Western sanctions continue to escalate. The privatization plan, announced by Finance Minister Anton Siluanov, mirrors similar actions taken by Russia in 2010, when the country sold public assets to generate billions in revenue for the national budget. Siluanov revealed that stakes in 7 companies would be sold, aiming to raise approximately $3.5 billion. However, Vladimir Milov, a prominent critic of Vladimir Putin and a former Russian minister, dismissed the plan in an interview with Newsweek, saying this is of little interest for market players. Such minority ownership requires significant investment, but it doesn't provide any opportunity for real influence over governance in companies still dominated by state control, and therefore remain simply a waste of money. He added, no one wants to buy such useless minority stakes, which give zero influence and control. The value of assets actually privatized is negligible because, for over 2 decades, the Russian government has maintained control over key economic industries and does not want to let go of ownership of strategic players. By Tactic, March 25, 2025. Second, Belarus suddenly starts combat readiness check, reports say. March 25, 2025. In Belarus, at the direction of the self-proclaimed President Alexander Lukashenko, a readiness check of the country's armed forces has been launched, the Belarusian news agency BelTA reports. In particular, the personnel of one of the Belarusian military units are required to carry out a set of activities to prepare equipment and weapons for conducting combat training tasks. Upon arriving at the training ground, the units will carry out engineering, camouflage, security, and defense tasks, as well as perform control shooting with standard weapons. To create a combat-like environment, taking into account the experience of modern military conflicts, the use of both strike and reconnaissance UAVs, as well as aviation, is planned, adds BelTA. Belarus' role in war against Ukraine. At the beginning of the full-scale war, Belarus territory was used for the deployment of Russian troops and for launching attacks on the northern regions of Ukraine, including the Kiev region. In addition, Belarus provided logistical support, including through military-industrial complex enterprises that met the needs of the Russian army. In January 2024, the Ministry of Defense of Belarus announced the deployment of military personnel to Russia for training in order to acquire experience from the invaders in the war against Ukraine. By RBC Ukraine, story by Viktor Nazarenko, March 25, 2025.